Zhiyun won't stop making new lights, and I'm starting to be a little overwhelmed. They're all good though. Today we're going over their new lightweight, super powerful budget lights, the B series. Wait, is that what B stands for? Is it budget? Whoa. Actually, no, what am I thinking? It probably stands for bicolor because all of these lights are bicolor. More on that in a minute. Honestly, the first impression that these lights gave was not particularly good. Straight up, this is some pretty bad packaging. I almost wonder if they sent me like some prototype packaging or something that's just specifically for influencers where the packaging doesn't really matter, because this can't possibly be what ships to consumers, right? Well, it is what ships to the consumer, which is not great, but their reasoning actually makes a lot of sense. I guess if they spend less money on packaging and it's simple, kind of ugly packaging, then it's cheaper. And the cheaper the packaging, the less expense gets transferred onto the customer, making it a more budget-friendly product. So that's a win. Hey, it's what's inside that counts, right? What do we got in here? Light, reflector dish, and a power cord. Okay, there's no power brick. Let me explain. The lack of power supply is not actually a flaw, it's a feature. See, none of these B-series lights actually require an external power adapter. It's built into the light, which is insane. Dragging around power bricks all day is super annoying, and they add a ton of bulk to your kit. A 500-watt light like this would normally have like a freaking huge power supply. For how powerful it is, the actual light fixture itself is impressively small. It's only about 6 by 9.5 by 6 inches, and it weighs only 6 pounds. The B500 and 300 share the same larger size, and the B200 and 100 are smaller, but all of these lights have the same features. These lights are available in 4 different sizes, and we'll talk about which one might actually meet your needs best in a minute, but first I want to see this thing in action. With a light like this, there's not a whole lot of features to go over because it's got a pretty simple job. Be bright. The bicolor range that the B series covers is 2700 Kelvin all the way to 6500 Kelvin, which is perfect for most productions, whether you're trying to match natural light from the sun or clouds or windows, or you're trying to create sort of a warmer ambiance in an interior scene with 2700 Kelvin. One important thing to note if you're on higher level productions is that, like most lights in this range, there is absolutely no way to adjust the green or magenta tint on this light. The CCT color can be adjusted manually using this dial on the right of the light, and the brightness is adjusted using the dial on the left. You can see the adjustments that you're making on this little LCD screen right on the back. The lights can also be adjusted via Zhiyun's Vega light control app, which is super streamlined and just works very, very well, very, very quickly. Alternatively, you can buy a separate light controller from Zhiyun, which costs about $50, but it gives you the ability to turn on effects modes like lightning, candles, you know, the sort of the normal lineup. The most important test for me though is fan noise. I've had this running at 100% for a little while, maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So let's give it a listen in. At 100% power with fans running at max speed, this is actually a lot quieter than I was expecting. It's also sort of like a low-toned whooshing sound, which should be really easy for voice isolation software to edit out. While these fans are definitely working quite hard to keep this light cool, I'm not hearing any sort of whirring or clicking or screeching sounds coming from it, so even at 100%, I'm very happy with this. At 50% power, the noise was reduced to like sort of a moderate hum, and then all the way back at 25%, the noise was basically negligible. You couldn't hear anything. Zhiyun didn't skimp on build quality with these lights either. The main body is made out of a high quality plastic to help with heat dissipation, which means that even when this thing is running at 100% and it has been for over an hour and the light itself is pretty hot, I can still hold the exterior and not worry about getting burnt. Of course, there are some areas that will burn you. Definitely don't touch sort of like the light source or any of the metal bits. You gotta still be careful, but I think the use of plastic on the body and some of the handles was very, very smart. It might be obvious by looking at them, but these lights are not weather resistant. So if you are using them outside, make sure that the day is clear, it's not rainy or dusty or sandy or anything. Which brings us to the next question. Which model, which wattage of B-Series light is right for you? I'm not gonna do a deep dive here, but if you wanna film outside or in higher light scenarios, the B500 is the best choice for you because it has the best chance at standing up against the sun. That's without the B500, and that's with it. It's a pretty sunny day too. That's a powerful light. In most studio settings, all you need for a key light is 200 to 300 watts. I've been getting by with 220 for a while now. But that being said, you can always dim down a more powerful light. You can't increase the output of a less powerful light. That's just something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is price. Most 500 watt bicolor LED cob lights like this go for around $600 to $1,100, and the B500 is not any different, but it's kind of on the lower end. It's $720. The rest of the B series follows suit with the B300 at $539, the 200 at $359, and the 100 at $229. So are they leagues cheaper than the competition? No, but they do have some more innovations like the lack of external power supply, and they all have app control, which is just amazing, especially at this price point. As always, whether it's worth it is totally dependent on your budget and your needs, but these are definitely a very viable option. Now, if you're thinking of getting the B300, there's another option that Zhiyun has for you that is a lot different, and it's a lot smaller in some ways, but just as powerful. It's called the G300. I made a review of it, and you should watch it up over there if you're interested.